Witnessing my friend's heartbreaks etch scars deep within me. Why am I not enough? And so that's it, that's how we end, echoed painfully in my heart. Each betrayal, a reminder that love can be given in full but respect is a fragile gift. How do we heal from this? They have all gone through heart-wrenching breakups. And yes, the reason is the usual cheating. However, what struck me the hardest was not just the fact that they were hurt, but how they hurt. Each of them had a moment, a raw, unfiltered second in which they said something that pierced straight through me. Their words did not merely make me sad for them, they left a mark on me. It felt as though I absorbed some of their pain without even realizing it. What they experienced was emotion, but what I felt was physical. I did not even know that was possible. There was an actual heaviness in my chest, a weight, like something dropped straight into my heart, as if their heartbreak reached into me and flicked a switch I did not know existed. My mind kept replaying their words even long after they stopped talking. It echoed in the silence and settled in my chest like an invisible bruise. It is astonishing how someone else's pain, when it is that raw, that honest, can reside in your body as if it were your own. Like you are carrying a grief you did not earn but feel all the same. Friend 1, the girl, year 2020. We were supposed to go out that day. Nothing fancy, just something to get her out of her apartment because she was feeling really down. She is pretty Morna, not too tall, intelligent, and never speaks poorly about others. One random, ordinary, hectic workday, she received an email from a stranger, a man she did not know. It turned out to be the husband of the woman with whom her boyfriend had been cheating. He reached out not to fight, not to blame, but to connect the dots. Attached to the message were screenshots, her boyfriend and this man's wife caught entering and exiting a motel in another city. While she was brushing her hair, I was being my usual nagging self. I said, "Baby, let's go outside, get some fresh air. He'll know your worth. He is not even reaching out to explain, apologize, or fix the relationship, so do not bother, do not talk to him, ignore him, blah blah blah." She suddenly stopped, faced me, and smiled. But in her eyes there was something different. You know that look when the light is completely gone, then her tears fell like droplets from a vitamin dropper hole and steady. And she said, "So that is it, that is how we end, after all those years, not even a single word." Reason as usual, cheating. Friend 2, the gay friend, year 2021. He is part of the LGBTQ community, not a cross-dresser. Handsome, tall, light-skinned, and clever, his ex was the same minus the fair skin. The ex worked at a business process outsourcing company with a work-from-home setup that included a take-home laptop. However, even if the company was 2 to 3 hours away, he insisted on going there daily. He always had an excuse for being in the office, even when he did not need to be. My friend, who does not understand business process outsourcing culture, just went along with it thinking it was normal. Too late, he realized the ex was preparing to end their relationship and start a new one. At his lowest point, he said, "I begged, I told him not to break up with me yet, just let my birthday pass first. But on my birthday I cried, I told JR how much I was hurting. I even said, even if I am just the side piece, just do not leave me. I was crying and he just said, go ahead, cry, while scrolling on his phone, as if I were not even there. When he told me that, he was not crying yet. He just stared blankly, holding a glass of alcohol, no emotion, just emptiness. A few minutes later, he broke down. Reason as usual, cheating. Friend 3, the guy friend, year 2015. Not tall, not super handsome, but definitely not ugly. Financially stable, he already has a house ready for his future wife. He makes an effort when it comes to love. He and his girlfriend dreamed together. They had been lovers since high school. She aimed high too, but he was willing to sacrifice his dreams for hers. He believed that men can still pursue a career even when older, while women often struggle once they have children or start a family. So he prioritized her. He funded everything for her move abroad: bags, clothes, medications, makeup, tickets, visa, show money, and pocket money. Even when she had no job for months, he sent her remittances. He asked us if we had contacts there so she would feel safe and settled. Initially, they talked all the time, day and night. Then it became just nights, then 3 times a week, then weekends, then nothing. He even became worried that something bad happened, because he remembered a movie we watched about overseas Filipino workers and the hardships they face abroad. With what little money he had left, he flew there to find his girlfriend. The girl still had no job, but she had a new live-in partner. We were all panicked. He called us saying he wanted to fly home that same day, but his return flight was 2 weeks away, and all he could say was, "Why am I not enough?" Then he just sobbed. Reason as usual, cheating. Friend 4, another girl, year 2025. They were together long-term. She is a pure soul, kind, family-oriented, hardworking, and not materialistic. Petite, fair-skinned, and beautiful. They had been living together for maybe 5 years. Her partner had a child with his ex. Still, she set aside her own feelings just to keep the peace. She was incredibly understanding. Then her partner got promoted and was now managing an entire department. Every weekend, he went on rides with other bikers or had team outings. But he never invited her, even though we saw in his social media stories that other coworkers brought their families or even children. She would be left at his place cleaning, doing laundry, feeding the dogs, and eating alone. One time, a family member of hers was hospitalized. She was admitted and discharged. He did not even visit or offer to drive her, even though commuting was difficult. His excuse: he was tired and did not have time. One day, during a reunion with her friends, they captured something on video: her partner being affectionate with another girl. That is when she discovered it was not just one girl, there were many, and he even called her boring. She called me in the middle of the night asking me to pick her up near their condominium. She broke up with him. While she was at our house, I asked her what happened. She told the whole story, then she said, "It was okay if he treated me like a maid. It was okay if he never took me out. I was okay with whatever food he provided. But to belittle me and cheat on me, that hurts the most." Reason: as usual, cheating. Friend 5, another gay friend, year 2024. This friend is also good-looking, talented, hardworking, and ambitious. He and his boyfriend were a perfect match. His boyfriend had a lot of baggage, but who are we to judge? We all do. The boyfriend did not finish school and wanted to go back. And even though my friend is not wealthy, he helped him, sending him an allowance and assisting in paying off debts, even though he himself is the breadwinner. Then the boyfriend ended the relationship. He said he was not ready, did not want to hurt my friend, and had big dreams. Okay, fair, but it turns out months before they broke up, he was already with someone else. Someone with a condominium, a job title, and a car. Classic social climber. And my gay friend said, "It is hard being poor. Love and respect depend on how much money you possess." Reason: as usual, cheating. My takeaways from 5 broken hearts. These experiences are more than just tales of heartbreak. They are real, raw reminders of how deep love can be and how profoundly betrayal can cut. Across all 5 stories, there is a clear pattern. Love was given fully, but respect was not always reciprocated. And despite the different faces and dynamics, each pain felt familiar, like chapters from the same book of loss. Here is what I learned from all of them. 1. Cheating does not only break trust, it breaks people. Each of my friends was not just sad, they were crushed. It was not about ego or pride, it was about feeling discarded after giving their all. 2. Love is not always enough, but effort, loyalty, and respect should be. These friends gave everything: support, sacrifices, and second chances. However, love alone cannot sustain a relationship if the other person keeps walking out emotionally or physically. 3. People who love purely are often the ones who break the hardest. To my friend who said, "It was okay if he treated me like a maid," that was not weakness, that was love stretched thin. But even the most patient heart has limits, and when those limits are crossed, it breaks in silence before it finally leaves. 4. Healing is messy, but silence, honesty, and safe spaces matter. You did not attempt to fix their pain, you listened. And sometimes, just being that kind of friend, the kind who stays when everything is falling apart, is a form of quiet heroism. 5. Cheating does not just break hearts, it leaves echoes. And somehow, even though I was not in those relationships, their pain left a mark on me. This is proof that heartbreak can resonate beyond the one who is hurting. What are your takeaways? Story 2. After my ex cheated and moved in his new mistress, he thought I'd welcome him back. "Can we see each other?" he asked as he slided into my life once more. I found his new girlfriend in my old bed with my belongings tossed aside. Now he's begging for a second chance, grumbling about her like I once did. "She's just a maid I can fuck," he admits. Hilariously tragic, right? Okay, so I would be dishonest if I claimed I wasn't grinning in the most disgusting manner about him messaging me. After 2 years of being with him, I showed up at his address, where I had been mostly living, only to find a woman in his bed and all of my belongings moved around. My belongings had also disappeared. During this time, I was really struggling with my health and I was not okay. This situation meant I spent time with my family for care, and during this period, he thought it would be a fantastic idea to start cheating on me with a random woman. Talk about kicking me when I was down. Upon discovering the random woman in his bed, I called my ex from work, demanding that he come over immediately and return my things so I could leave him for good. It turned out he had thrown away many of my belongings and hidden my work items, which are essential for my self-employment, in his garage. I ignored the girl flailing about in the background. She was telling me to leave, but I refused to go without my things first and insisted that she call the police if she wanted me gone. I simply wanted my belongings back. I knew I shouldn't have just shown up, But after being brushed off by my ex with vague excuses about work being busy and not being able to access my belongings, I decided to go over. The door was unlocked and I let myself in, which was typical when I was with him. It was horrifying to see a girl in his bed. Moreover, everything was rearranged and there were some cheap roses in a vase in the living room. I immediately had to step outside and regain my composure. I called my ex and instructed him to get to his place and bring my things. He tried to wriggle out of it, but I didn't want to see him again and didn't want the situation to drag on. The girl woke up from being in bed. I am sure my ex called her to inform her I was around. She looked like a rat and I didn't even speak to her despite her flailing about in the background. I just felt stunned. Anyway, after retrieving my belongings, I realized I had stock worth $300 that I still needed and had to ask him whether he still had it or if he had thrown it away. Eventually, he admitted he had my items and said he would bring them to me that evening and would talk to me properly to apologize. He showed up that evening at my mother's address and tried to dump my things on the street without me seeing him. I was standing and waiting on the street. He arrived with the woman sitting in his passenger seat and she sneered at me as soon as she saw me. I lost my temper. I flung open the passenger door and confronted her, and I confronted him as well. I hate to admit it, but my rage was overwhelming. In hindsight, I realize it wasn't worth even giving a slight reaction, but they had caught me at such a low point in my life, and their cold and sly behavior made it feel as if I had been with a stranger for 2 years. It felt alien. I had so many happy memories, and I felt utterly betrayed and deceived. I do not know what I did to deserve such a peculiar reaction from the woman. I suppose he had sold her a story, as she wanted to remain with him for some reason. I blocked him and went no contact. I focused on healing my health and tried not to feel heartbroken. I had many personal issues to deal with and I became preoccupied with just improving and feeling better. And it worked. I feel good, I feel free, and I feel less drained. I lost a lot of weight, I am doing yoga, I am receiving support for my health, and I am looking fabulous. I feel a tremendous sense of my own identity and boundaries. I am not short of offers for dates, and I receive a lot of attention, which has been uplifting. Although male attention does not matter much after feeling as worthless as my ex made me feel, it is nice to feel desired for the right reasons and to realize that there are kind people with whom I can surround myself. There is hope and peace, and someone who cheats is not a reflection of me. It is about them. It's their problem. I came to the conclusion that despite going no contact, I would hear from him again in some strange way, and that it would only be a few months. The woman and my ex would likely bond over me being labeled a crazy ex-girlfriend who lost her composure, which would bring them closer together as it would make them feel like star-crossed lovers. But this mindset would not last long. As I understand it, they barely knew each other when I found out. I had a deep sense that the woman had practically moved in with him based on what I saw when I came to collect my belongings. I just instinctively knew they would stay together for a while. He does not do any cleaning or anything for himself, so I gathered he had found a woman who would simply take over my role in the household and be used by him. As it turns out, I was correct in thinking he would cut off contact. He did 3 months later. My intuition was right, and I was correct about them being in a relationship. He has disparaged this woman to me in messages, criticizing everything from her performance in the bedroom to the bad meals she prepares and how she trusts him enough to go anywhere without her. She is bossy with him and he feels suffocated. He cannot even sneeze without her being disgusted by him. He has asked to see me and wants to end things with her. She is not from the local area, and it seems she is planning to establish a routine by finding a job nearby. The reality of how serious the relationship is getting, coupled with his unhappiness, is beginning to give him cold feet. They live together and she does his housework, which is why he is hesitant to leave her. Essentially, that is it. He is an even bigger jerk than I imagined, and it is a significant eye-opener regarding how he treated me as just a maid he could have sex with, his own words. I can see even more of his true colors. I do not want to see my ex. I do not even want a relationship with anyone anymore due to the distress and stress it caused me. However, I feel tremendously guilty about experiencing immense relief and gleeful joy at the expense of how he has criticized this woman, who looked down on me like an insect on her shoe during my darkest moment, and who, along with my ex, inflicted a lot of mental pain and distress upon me, and it has backfired. Now he wants to cheat with me while still being involved with her. He also confided in me through his eye-opening messages that he has cheated on her 4 times already, and despite her discovering this, she still stayed, blaming his use of porn and the absence of a father figure in his life. She views him as a project and hopes to make it work, but I know over time that she will continue to feel paranoid and overbearing for good reason, which will wear her down. I do not understand why she ever believed he would be faithful, considering she was part of my experience of being cheated on. I would call it poetic justice. A significant part of me would love to take screenshots of his messages and share them with her, but after exploding previously, which they did not even merit in terms of my reaction or upset at that time, I feel it is best to know and leave it. I am in a better mental place, and I would rather let them be rodents to each other, squeaking and arguing and being unhappy. I do not need to push that along when their situation already sounds terribly awful. I just feel like a massive weight has been lifted. I feel fantastic. I hope they have a miserable continuation of whatever you could call their relationship. Story 3. My 21-year-old boyfriend cheated on me just days after confiding he was raped by his dad. Now he's with a guy he met while we were dating, claiming, "You mustn't be that interesting if he cheated on you." Was the trauma real or just a cover? I'm left heartbroken and questioning everything. Hello, I am a 23-year-old female who had been dating a 21-year-old male for 2 weeks until 3 days ago. We first began conversing in a literature Discord group, and initially he assumed I was male. Admittedly, I tend to be quite cautious on that platform, so I did not correct him, thinking that nothing would come of it. Nonetheless, we found ourselves communicating every single day, and a month later he confessed his feelings to me. Because of this, I decided to be honest with him and informed him that I was female. At first, he chose not to accept this because he identifies as gay. He felt deceived that I had concealed my gender from him for a month. I understood and was okay with remaining friends, but a few days later he changed his mind. He told me that although he is gay, he has always felt attraction towards women. He explained that he simply had not found the right one. Consequently, he was open to the idea of dating me. Since our feelings were mutual and he expressed that to me, I agreed to enter into a relationship. Fast forward 8 days later, he was raped by his father. This is where everything becomes complicated and serious. I tried to support him through this ordeal. He would call me at night experiencing panic attacks and he would sleepwalk. To clarify, I will provide a timeline of events. April 6th, we became a couple. April 7th, a normal day. We had a playful argument when I jokingly asked about a new guy he had started following. In hindsight, he became oddly defensive, but it was a different account. April 8th, his responses began to diminish. April 9th, after some coaxing, he tearfully confided in me that he had been raped by his father. April 10th, I convinced him to inform his mother after he experienced a panic attack and sleepwalked. Now here are the reasons I have doubts regarding April 8th and April 9th. April 8th, before the day began, we were on a sleep call from 4 a.m. to 11 a.m. his time. We have an 11-hour time difference, but for simplicity, I will use his time. I checked in on him around 1 p.m. asking what he was doing, and he said he was busy with house chores. He did not text throughout the day, and at 7 p.m. he finally mentioned he had just woken up from a nap. By 9 p.m. he was working out, and at 11 p.m. he wanted to go to sleep. April 9th, it is unusual for us not to have a sleep call, so I already felt uneasy about the situation. We managed to talk around 8 p.m. and he finally confessed that he had been raped by his father. Apparently this incident occurred the previous day, but in my mind it does not add up because at 1 p.m. he was doing house chores, and by 7 p.m. he was napping. If it did happen, it would have to have been between 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. April 10th, during a sleepwalking episode, he sent me a coherent message. My friend informed me that a sleepwalker cannot send a proper coherent text. For instance, if someone sleepwalks in text, the message would consist of random words or jumbled letters, yet his contained complete sentences. I responded and he went into a panic attack, calling for his ex-boyfriend named John. This caused me pain, admittedly, but I pushed through and helped him calm down until he returned home. April 11th, I boarded a plane to travel for my entrance exams for the Doctor of Pharmacy program. Before boarding, he texted that he was about to take his own life, so I urgently purchased plane data, yet he did not respond. April 12th to April 15th, there was minimal contact and he remained depressed. He informed me that he was feeling this way because of the rape and needed time to heal. April 16th, I discovered he was cheating on me with another man. I confronted the man who remarked, "You must not be that interesting if he cheated on you." Had I had lower self-esteem, that would have affected me. They ultimately stayed together and the other man refused to leave my ex. After that conversation, I blocked both of them. Details about the infidelity. Apparently, they began communicating 2 weeks ago, so it is likely they got together before we were officially a couple. I asked him if there was anyone else, and he stated no. Because of this, I am starting to question whether the rape was an excuse to sever ties with me. After blocking him, he contacted my friend and yelled at her for my decision to cut him off. He went on a lengthy rant about how he treated me well and how he would retaliate against me by using another account to deceive me. When asked if he had discussed the cheating with his boyfriend as well, he replied affirmatively and mentioned that his boyfriend was okay with it. They also continue to mock me, insisting that they are plotting against me. In conclusion, I am feeling both hurt and confused because if you intended to cheat on me, why agree to date me? If you were raped, why are you seeking out others? You cannot be that interesting if you cheated on me. Ultimately, I am just confused, to be honest. Can anyone provide answers to the last three questions below?